Okay, welcome to part two. All right, welcome to part two of how to make a song in 1 hour at your house in your home studio. I guess this is all this is good. This video is going to take me as long as the song. That's fine. It's a video. That's fine, right? But because I have to edit it after. I don't know if I'll edit it, right? I have to edit sound effects in. You maybe saw that, or maybe you're watching this one first. I don't know. I wasn't. Never try unless you call me. I don't try. Okay, so we're on to the next part. So I'm assuming you watched the first video. If you didn't, this is about making a song in 1 hour. So far, we've covered three parts: the drums, the bass, guitar, and the synth pluck. Okay, and then so the next part is the synth pad. And so we'll listen to a bit of the synth pad. Now we're going to start actually. We're going to listen to, because this is a two-part video, we're going to listen to a bit of the song again. So sorry if you're watching this again. I'll play a different part of the song this time, so it's not too boring. So we're going to listen to this part, okay? Okay, all right, that's probably enough of that. All right, I wasn't not sure if I was nodding along correctly. I'm not quite in the groove yet, as they say, you know. Imagining stuff is basically creating it, right? So, it's true. So I couldn't imagine my song, but I did put it in there, so you heard it a little bit. And so we talked about the first three parts. So the next part out of five is the synth pad. Okay, and so here's a little bit of the synth pad. Kind of ambient kind of aspect of it, but it does kind of show you the harmonic, like it kind of gives you the harmony, and it right, it gives it some ambience, and it's important for music really to have some kind of space in it in general. Like it's going to end up having some kind of space, whether it's a noise floor or something. Like there kind of isn't. They kind of tried to do that in the 80s with like no noise floor, but then they had to bring out that would never happen. Like they always had to put a noise floor in, even if you don't hear it. Kind of one of those things, like even things that you don't hear that well in music are really important. And like I could have done this track and like made it in like 50 minutes or 48 minutes if I hadn't done that synth pad, right? But it was worth it to like do this extra little part that is just kind of dinky. And again, I used the basic like the basic sound, the basic just raw oscillator I made it from the pluck sound. So I took the pluck sound and then I made a pad out of it in about a couple of movements of faders and stuff. Like it really didn't change very much with it. Didn't do totally that much with it, but it's a pretty basic sound, and it has a little bit of chorus on it. Like there isn't a whole bunch going on. It's kind of like a classic analog pad type of sound though. And I guess I do know how to like make that, do that too. So I guess, right? It kind of gets easier as you go, right? And so that was that. And so this sound is really important to process it because you know, it was very dynamic. Like when I played it, I played the synth, as I was playing it. So I'm changing the pattern of the synth as I play it. Like I kind of play the notes, which are very simple. It's very simple notes. But then I play the parameters on the synth, right, live, and that's very important to get movement and a kind of dynamic and stuff. That's really how you make synth parts come alive, is by playing them live. With the pluck, I didn't do that. With the pluck, I just played the part, kind of played it musically like a keyboard. But with the pad, I put a little more effort in and actually played the settings on the synth, and that's really important. You usually have one aspect where the timbre is changing. That's a very important aspect of modern music that a lot of producers overlook. They don't realize that the timbres in the music that they're listening to are often changing. And so that's a subtle thing, but I wanted to have that in there. And so what I did is mostly compress it. I compressed it a lot and did dynamic EQ at all as well to really compress the mid range and higher mid range. So that leaves kind of the a little bit of openness on the treble, and the lower mid range, kind of below kind of 350 hertz, is left untouched, so it still has the body. And so on. I'll get through this. This next video is going to be pretty short because the next part is this last part of the track. Then that's the vocal. So we'll just listen to a bit of the vocal, okay? So, okay, that's about enough of that. I will listen to a little bit more. You can stay there. It's hard to listen. I mean, I'm not really listening to my vocal like right now, right? But I'm imagining that I am, and I know that I don't want to play too much of the raw vocal, but I do want to explain a couple things. Like I had never tried singing up until like a year ago or so. Like me, I don't remember. It wasn't that long ago. And because when I was in elementary school, the music teacher decided that I wasn't a singer because I was nervous when she played a note on piano and said sing this note, and then I didn't make a sound. And then within about 3 seconds, she decided that I wasn't a singer. So I decided, I basically agree with everyone, right? I agree with whatever people say. That's one of my problems, So I don't really, but you know, I took that in, and I never tried singing. Like I never uttered like tuneful vocalizations up until 1 year. There was a period of that was when I was 12. So that is like 10, 20, 22 years, I guess 20, 21 years without 21 years without singing. That could be the name of my album or something. No, it's terrible. But no, I'm not into like being like a victim or whatever. I totally could have tried singing later. I was just nervous. I literally was nervous until a couple of years ago, and so it's fine if you're nervous. But the way I got the sound of these vocals is that I cranked the preamp on my mixer all the way to maximum. So let's listen to the vocal with none of my digital processing, just the actual raw recording. So here it is. Oh, I can find it. Okay, let's see. Here it is. You can stay there. Okay, assuming that wasn't just pure silence and that I did find the raw vocal recording, let's listen to it with the processing. Okay, so here's the processing on the vocal. Okay. You can stay there. It's not a crime to hang back. The idea, it's kind of like not. I mean, it's obviously like sounds a little better, but it's the character of it comes from like my voice and the preamp, and the mic. I use this mic because it's my best mic. So, and you might recognize it. Spot the mic. I don't talk about gear. I'm going to talk about right now. Because that's the track. Those are the parts, and I guess there's the mastering. But before I talk about mastering, I'm going to talk about why I don't talk about gear in any of this stuff. And why, or any particular plugins or anything. And that's because it really doesn't matter that much. Like there is sub quality stuff. I mean, you're if you run into that kind of stuff, I'm sorry for you. But like you're probably using like something really cheap. Like you got to be realistic. Like it does cost some money to build a studio. And I don't know how to help you if you don't have any money. I don't know what to say about that, right? Obviously, it would be cool if obviously that's the big issue, right? So, and so if it's better just you don't need to spend $1 million though. You don't need to buy the most expensive stuff. Like I'm not gonna tell you what kind of gear I use because it doesn't really matter. Also, it's embarrassing. Literally my converters are embarrassing. I don't talk like I'm getting some new converters though, but it doesn't matter what they are, right? But like anyway, so you kind of get the idea about gear, right? And my position on that. And I think that people focus way too much on it. It's really not about that. It's really about the techniques you use and about your attitude and about having confidence in what you're doing. That's like the main stuff, right? It's not really about like people do things in pretty crazy ways. I was hanging out with a guy today who like he makes his music in a way that makes no sense at all. Like it really makes no sense. No one could no one could say that his production process makes sense. He can't even explain it. But his stuff is super banging. Like it's super catchy and banging. It's gonna be a hit, I think. Once he kind of is able to get over his paranoia about sharing his music, which a lot of people have. So now what else can I say? So 9 minutes. Yeah. So I'm gonna show you the master. So pre-master. Okay. So there's the pre-master. I'm just gonna tell you the master. Okay, and I'll talk about that in a different video because like mastering is like it's quite a process. Like mastering is, but just to give you like an idea, I did that mastering very quickly. I'm not gonna say how long because that's freaky, but because it's my own stuff, so I kind of know how to do it. But I used 4 plugins. And that's how much it changed it. And it's not changing it how it sounds, but it does change how it sounds, right? You kind of get it. So that's part 2. And let's hope I know how to edit these videos so that they work. And thanks for watching. It was cool. Thank you so much.